This is Duke University.
The easiest way for a college to teach students is the way it has always taught students, as if you answered the question, what do I need to know, as if the answer was, you need to know what I'm used to teaching. I think that has been the proposition of a lot of education through the history of the world. We're trying to do it in a different way here. We're trying to say to ourselves, what kind of education will students need 10 or 15 or 20 years from now at the time when they're out there making their mark? And then we've tried to build back from that answer to our present moment on the Duke campus and say to ourselves, how can we make this place offer now the training, the mental exercise that will give people the powers they will need to be maximally effective later on? We know that students need to be highly engaged and active. We know they need to be able not just to learn one subject, but to pull different bodies of knowledge together in face of different problems. We think they're going to need to cross back and forth the boundary of theory and practice, the boundary of classroom learning and real-world experience. We think they're going to need to know how to solve something in one place and how the problem would change if you moved to a different place on the globe. As I say, when you come back here, what I would be happiest to have you leave with is a sense that whatever Duke is, it's a school that is profoundly serious about education, about what it is we're offering our students at this time, and how we can serve that best. When you come back in 5 years, I intend to wow you with further marvels. When you come back at that time, next year we are anticipating the opening of something being built in China. The city next to Shanghai is called Kunshan. It's the highest per capita income city in China. It has the highest concentration of high-tech industries, but it doesn't have any higher education. And they know they can't sustain the proposition, that knowledge is what feeds the enterprises of the future. That city is building a series of buildings at its expense on land that it has provided, on which Duke will offer training in business courses, in health management courses, eventually, I believe, in environment courses, in one of the most challenging environmental areas in the world. And why will that be good for us? It'll be great for people all around the world to know the kind of education Duke wants to have as its signature, but it will also be great for every student here to be taught by teachers, many of whom will have had some experience of seeing the Chinese face of problems. What happens to the energy problem when you're in China and you're not the US? How is the problem of aging populations similar or different in China and the US? This will be great for our students here as well as elsewhere. I'll conclude with this. When you come back here, I think Sterling said the right message. In a way, every time you come back here, Duke is doing all these new things. And you could say, gosh, is that the same old Duke I used to know? But the history of Duke is the history of doing new things and moving forward. There must have been people who came back after the West Campus of Duke was built and said, I don't know. I don't know why it wanted to be a university. I don't know why they wanted all those Gothic buildings. But Duke has just always been interested, not in what it is, but in what it still could be, interested in what it could reach to be in the domain of education. But there's another way in which we've always been completely constant in our purpose, and that's to say we know that of all the millions of activities that go on at this university, there's only one thing we're responsible for at the end of the day, which is taking talented young men and women and giving them the challenges and the support that enable them to live up to the actual and absolute fullness of their promise. That happened in your time, and you are the results. That happens in our time, and the results you meet when you walk around through our tents. When you come back here in 20, 50, 100 years, that will still be the business of this place. And my thanks to you and the checks behind me, which I will now go to the bank and deposit, for your investment in helping this university continue to live up to its mission. Thanks very much.
Produced by Duke University, online at duke.edu.